Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my! It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Psychic medium Helene Olson and paranormal researcher Patricia Baker. Here are Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I am here with my fabulous co-host, psychic medium Helene Olson. Hi, Helene.
Hi, Patricia.
What an
How are
exciting
you?
show. I'm fine, thank you. I'm just so excited. I can't even stand it. This
I
show
love
tonight.
Betty. Oh.
Do you love her? I love her.
I do. She has such a huge heart, and she's so well-spoken about her experience. I think we've talked to her before, and I know you've known her for a long time, but she's just such a lovely, lovely spirit, really beautiful.
She
Yep.
is, and her fabulously handsome husband is right by her side tonight. He's got some very interesting information to share with us.
He's amazing. He can really tell a story, let me tell you what. Yeah.
Well, they're both great
Awesome.
interviews.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing on the air, and I'm just so excited because their book, as you know, The Andreasson Affair, was on the bestseller list, New York Times bestseller list, when it came out. The book was written by Ray Fowler. Excellent book, highly documented UFO abduction case. It took place here in Massachusetts. And the book sold extremely well. Universal bought the rights to make this into a movie. And then the book went out of print. But thanks to a guest you and I had on the show, Xavier Hayes came on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And after the show, we talked about publishers. And Xavier was kind and generous enough to put me in touch with New Page Books, and they're the ones that decided to go ahead and republish The Andreasson Affair. So this is how wonderfully...
The story never gets old on that. There are
It
so many
never
people
does.
who've
And
had that
it, you know,
experience. Yeah.
It's got a new afterword that's being published with the book, and I can't wait. It's going to be coming out October 20th, but it is available for pre-sale now. People can actually go to Amazon.com and order a copy, and then when October 20th comes around, they'll be one of the first to get it. So I cannot wait to get Betty and Bob on the line here and talk to everybody about everything, but I did mow my lawn today. I have to share that with you. Back
well,
to
we
the
just
mundane.
had a sprinkle here on this end of the state, and that was it. And then the sun kind of came out, and I wish it was just a little bit more rain.
We didn't have any rain, thank goodness, because when you and I talked, I was in a panic, thinking I might not be able to finish the lawn mowing today, but it's done.
Well, that's
done.
good. And I know you enjoy doing it. It's sort of a Zen experience for you, I know that.
It's a religious experience for me. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
But I'm wondering, Patricia, if I can take one moment of everyone's time and just take a second to send some healing love and energy to our colleague who is on another station, as they say, Michael Vara,
Oh, yes.
who is recovering from a serious issue, so a medical issue. So, yeah, so we'll just take a moment to keep him in our thoughts and hope that everything continues to improve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That goes everything to Michael. He's a good guy, and he's very devoted to his radio show and his listeners, so we hope he gets well soon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going in the right direction, so just send him all
good.
a little love. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
And you know,
we do have
our other
some
favorite guest is on again this week, Patricia Kirkman.
She's the best, isn't
because
she?
she is awesome. Yeah.
she's awesome. She nails it every
incredible perspective on everything,
Well,
yeah.
She is predicting the future for us. She lets us know for tomorrow what's coming up. But first, we're going to talk about Steven Spielberg. There's a method to the madness here, but we decided it would be kind of a fun thing to have Patricia look at Steven Spielberg, seeing as how he's had so many films in the paranormal genre, and most specifically, he did Close Encounters. And so we wanted to see, our paranormal movies in his future, because he kind of got away from that and did a whole bunch of many, many other films that were very successful. But we're wondering, is there an opportunity coming up where he might be going back to the paranormal? So, Patricia, welcome to the show.
Well,
I just have to add this, Patricia. I actually did see Close Encounters.
You did? Well, I'm so proud of you.
I did, and I almost never watch movies, so I remember it vividly. It haunted me for months.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I bet I know which scene, too. Probably the one where they were surrounded by the aliens and the little boy was going
something
out.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Patricia,
Hello,
what do you
Patricia.
think about Steven Spielberg?
Oh, I think we haven't even scratched the surface of some of the things he's going to be doing the next couple of years, because he's in a one personal year where it's all about new beginnings and fresh starts. But for him, his fresh starts always deal with what he has a hold of. He doesn't ever let anything totally go. If you think about how he prepares, he is so much a perfectionist on how he wants things to be that he does not let anything slide by. He's very detailed about his work. He gives and takes well, but he's very creative. But when it comes to changes, it's like, the old-fashioned flip books that made it look like a movie where you take a stack of pictures and you
I
flip it.
loved those. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's how he works with things. And it's kind of like it flips and then it stops. And where it stops, that's what's the next issue. There's a lot coming.
Do you think that there's an opportunity for him to do more paranormal movies like Close Encounters?
Definitely.
Oh, good.
I would look for at least 2 things coming over these next couple of years. Could be 3, but at least 2. Because he's very much an adventurous, and he's always using his creative side to put things together. But he's a detail man. When he gets a hold of something he really wants, he doesn't let go of it, and he keeps working with it and building it up till it becomes something more. So he's truly one of the finest directors we've had in years. But his tenacity for when he puts himself into something is nonstop. Look at his relationship with Kate Cadshaw.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long-standing relationship where many people that have the knack that he does, there's usually a turnover of what they do. No, he holds on, he knows what it is, and he builds with what he's got. And taking a look at the family that the two of them have built together. So he just kind of scratches the surface of things. But he's very much into major changes and making changes. And he wants to be seen as someone that's a risk taker. He likes being a risk taker. He likes doing that extra thing, waiting for the other shoe to drop to see how other people are going to react to what he does.
Wow.
So I've been looking for... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm looking for him to make some real major shifts, because this month is all about some new beginnings. So I would look for something to come out within the next 2 to 3 months, giving us information about what he's working on or what he's about to take place.
Well, we all are hoping that he'll look in the direction of the Andreasson affair, because that would be a great project for him. Bring him back to the UFO phenomenon, which he did so well with in his other films. And this is a film that needs to be made. And so knowing what you've just said about Steven Spielberg and how tenacious he is, I think he's the man for the job.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. And just even looking at the title of the Andreasson affair, it has... The biggest punch comes out of the 6th, which is about perfection, wanting it perfect, but wanting the masses to be aware of it. That's also how Stephen works with other things that he works with. So there's so much of that taking place. It's going to be absolutely fabulous for him.
So there's a match, you're saying, between the name The Andreasson Affair and Stephen's numbers.
Yes.
Oh, how nice.
It especially right now where he is starting out new. Does that make sense? Because this is his new beginning. This is he's been dabbling with some other things. That's why I say in the next couple of months we're going to be made privy to something that he's actually been working on for the last year and a half to 2 years.
Well, he's just got to clear his plate so he can do the Andreasson Affair. That's all.
Well, we're just going to have to give him a phone call and let him know.
I think
we won't
should
accept anything less.
That's right.
Yeah. Works for me.
That's perfect, Patricia. Thank you. And now tomorrow we are looking at an 11-day. What does that mean?
Well, actually, what we're going to look at tomorrow is a 9 personal day for people. The universal month is a 7 because, and this is a review of the entire year, regardless of what our personal stuff is. The universe has a bigger push, and the 7 deals with our spiritual side and teaching and learning. That's why when we're taking a look at the Andreasson Affair, all these things are pulling things together because it's giving out new information. Old but new. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And with that being said, the 9 is about what goes on in the world at large, and it's about drama. It's about what's taking place in so many different areas. Regardless of what our personal stuff is, tomorrow we're going to get a good look at something that's coming from, it's going to be rather startling. There's some information coming that personally, but also I think there's going to be something coming out universally that we're going to be a little surprised at tomorrow. And I don't know exactly what it is or why I'm getting this. But it's what we do for others.
Well, it's an anniversary date. It's an anniversary date for the world, too. Doesn't that leave an impression?
Well, that's true, too. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't even thinking that. I've been looking at the individual numbers today without going past that. Mm-hmm. There are going to be so many different people looking at things in such a different way. There is fear and fantasy taking place. Mm-hmm. Because we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we're looking for someone to show us a light to make a difference. And I think we're going to start hearing more and more about that as this month continues. Because for every man, woman, and child, the month we are in is a review of our personal year. So it's a lot of sameness in a different way. And I know that kind of sounds silly, but it's what we're seeing around us is coming back to us. It's almost like a reflection.
So we're looking in a mirror.
I thought, at a carnival.
Oh, that kind of mirror. The funhouse mirror.
That's why I say it's more of a reflection. It's not an image, but it's distorted because it's getting ready to make change. And around the 25th of the month, we're going to see some major shifts taking place. But all of this is leading us up to the fact come October, we're going to be going into our new personal year. But we've got to take what's going on now and use it as our prop to get going in the direction we need to be going. We have to wrap up what has been, let go of the past, and get ready for the future.
All right.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking for Stephen to make those changes.
I am, too. Mm-hmm. And all of us. I mean, it sounds like we've got a lot of work ahead of us in terms of consciousness raising, so it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow now and what is disclosed.
There's something coming for us, and I'm just going to keep my eyes and ears open. I don't want to miss it either.
Well, we're going to put this in the newsletter once it manifests. We're going to say, you heard it here first from Patricia Kirkman.
Okay.
So.
Right. We'll go for that one.
And thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome, dear.
Thanks,
Have a
Patricia.
great day. Bye-bye, dear.
You too. Bye-bye.
Wow.
That was a lot to digest.
It's so much information, and it just sounds like tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day. I wonder if we're going to hear more about disclosure of UFOs. But speaking of that, we have our guests to introduce. So we have here with us tonight Betty Andreasson Luca and Bob Luca. Welcome to Supernatural Girls.
Well, thank
Hello,
you.
Patricia and Helene.
Hello,
Hi.
Patricia and Helene as well.
Thank you for having us on.
Oh, well, congratulations on your book coming out on October 20th. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, our audience members can purchase the book now through Amazon.com, do a pre-order. They'll be one of the first to get the book when it's available, October 20th. But this is very exciting.
Yes, it is.
All over again.
And a lot is because of you, dear one.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's my pleasure. I want to see this movie made. And also, Betty, you were just recently filmed for a segment on ancient aliens called The Watchers.
Yes, I was.
And that is going to be aired sometime this fall. We're going to let everybody in our audience know when that is going to happen. Very exciting. So you're in front of the media again after all these years of taking time off?
It has been, since my last 1995 experience. It's been about 20 years that I have been away from it all. So I'm a little nervous getting back in the public eye. I have to say the truth. That's the way it is. It's a little bit scary for me again.
Well, that's understandable. I know that when you both first came out with all of this information and the story, and it really hit big. It hit a nerve with everybody. And I know that you had people that were very supportive and then people who were not so supportive, which is typical of this kind of thing. And this was so many years ago.
Right. It wasn't, the people that were involved bringing forth the information, as the investigators, they did a terrific job. They were wonderful. They made me feel very comfortable. The hypnotist did a great job. What had happened was I had remembered that a strange being had been in my home. And for years I held that, and I thought, what am I going to do with this? What was this thing that was in my house, And I happened to see a local newspaper that Dr. J. Allen Hynek had put an ad in there. If anything unusual had happened or strange, to please write to him. So I wrote to him, and I drew a picture of what the being looked like that was in my home. And he took it and he put it away for about 2 to 3 years. And then a Massachusetts group of investigators were looking for something with a hybrid or being involved. And they got in touch with him. And he, in turn, gave them the letter and what had happened, and that's when it all began. I was called and asked if I would undergo regressive hypnosis to get the rest of the information out, and I did.
Well, it was very well documented by author Ray Fowler, who also went on to write many more books about your experience. But this classic, The Andreasson Affair, it's so exciting that people can actually get their hands on a new copy today. This is just great. And for you, I know you've told the story a million times, but I walk our audience through this. What happened that night?
Well,
one thing, Patricia, I want to interrupt, that people should know is before any of this came out and before the book was done, there were lie detector tests, psychological evaluations, psychiatric examinations, background checks. That all took place before the books were ever done. I just wanted to let people know that people that might question it later.
That's
right.
Extremely
they may
important.
question it because it is strange experiences I've been through.
And so you got a clean bill of health all the way around, and you passed the lie detector test, so the book came out of was based on all of this, that they knew you were telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, it all started at 7 years old when I was living in Leominster, Massachusetts, and I was out in the backyard, and I was waiting for a friend, Dee Dee, to come over and play dolls with me. And what happened, a tiny ball of light came in the little shed that I was sitting in, and I was eating crackers, so I thought, ooh, that must be a bee, because it buzzed around my head, and so I threw the crackers down. All of a sudden, it hit me right between the eyes. I went down, and I remember hearing a voice, or voices, saying, the wee little one is coming along fine. Now, I don't know why they said that. I don't know if I must have had something before even that must have happened for them to know where I was, because they have been watching me for a long time, they told me later in the future.
Gosh, and so when you came to after this experience of this light hitting you in between your eyebrows there, then what happened? Did you just go off with your friend and just continue playing? I mean, it's kind of a strange experience.
Right. I didn't remember. All I was told that I would remember the bee. And when my friend came over, I told her I was bit by a bee and I was crying. She put her hand up by the middle of my forehead here and felt, and she said, there's no bump and there's no bite there, So I was able to play dolls and everything was fine. And then I had a second encounter, and that took place when I was 12 years old. And I'm sort of a tomboy, so I was always up in the woods and always fishing or doing things like that. And I had a trap that was in an old barn that we had, and I wanted to see, maybe I can catch an animal. So I put this trap down at a big hole by some mountain laurel, and I went to school, and then the next day I rushed up to see if I caught anything. Well, I saw that the trap was gone, and the stick that was holding the chain was pulled out. So I went and I looked in the hole, and as I was looking in the hole, this gray thing started, big round gray thing, sort of like the top part of a bee's nest, it looked like, wrinkled and gray, and it was coming out of the hole. And I was shocked, and I stood back, and there was a little being that came out of there. And
oh, my goodness.
Right, I was afraid. I stepped backward, and I had stones. Every time I went in the woods, being a tomboy, I would take some stones with me so that I'd be protected. And I threw the stones at the little being, and when it did, it hit like a flat surface and fell down. So I was kind of surprised at that. And then the being just touched a button on his breast, and when that happened, another ball of light came out and hit me in the same spot as when I was 7 years old, and down I went. And I could hear another voice of many voices speaking, and the thing was that they said I was not ready yet. Evidently, somehow they checked me to know that I wasn't ready yet, that it would be another year. So another year went by, and at 13 years old, I had another encounter. However, this encounter was bigger. I was outdoors, and I was walking up the hill to the backyard, and I looked to the side, and I saw the moon, and I thought, what is the moon doing out this early? And all of a sudden, it was getting bigger and bigger, coming closer and closer to me until I was enveloped with white light. And it was at that time I was picked up, and I was eventually brought before the One.
Oh, my goodness. What an experience. I mean, there were 3 very powerful experiences that happened to you before you became an adult.
Right.
And,
exactly.
Oh, my goodness. This was so many years ago. I mean, people never talked about extraterrestrials back then.
No.
And so you probably didn't even have a reference point as to what this was.
I didn't. I really didn't. I couldn't imagine what these beings were because they were so different. Large heads with black eyes and dressed in a suit, and they had this power to overtake me. So it was something that I could not understand.
Did you tell your mom about this?
No, I didn't tell anyone because I was left with something covering me so that I wouldn't remember.
So all of this came out under the regressive hypnosis?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But I clearly remembered it after when I was put in that state of hypnosis where the memories just flooded in. I think they were covered so much that they had to break loose, and that's what happened.
One of the things that people are in awe about with you, Betty, is your ability to remember detail. And even listening to you talk about these experiences again tonight, I feel like we're all right there with you. The way you talk about putting the trap near the mountain laurel in a hole and with a stick and the chain. I mean, you remember every detail about what happened, and I know that's one of the things the researchers loved about your experiences, because you could tell them all the details. There was nothing nebulous or unclear about what happened.
Well, I think what it comes from, God has given me the gift of drawing and art, and I think I'm really interested in detail. Like even as a child, I would pick up a flower and I would study it, and I'd take it apart to see all of its pieces and its colors and its smells and everything. Or even an insect. I would hold an insect in my hand and I would study it. And I think that's why I became an amateur artist afterward, because I love the details of everything that has been made. I feel that it is so powerful, that everything possesses a beauty and something so wonderful to everything that is. And that's what I feel that I try to express in my art.
And I would not call you an amateur artist, that's for sure, even though I know you haven't had formal training. But your artwork is stunning, and I know that you're going to be offering for sale prints of some of your paintings, and the paintings are of the beings, the experiences you had when you were abducted and taken to all these different places. And this can be found on your website, which is Andreassonaffair.com. So everybody make sure that you visit Betty and Bob's website, Andreassonaffair.com, for all the latest news about the Andreasson Affair, as well as taking a look at Betty's artwork. It will all be there probably pretty soon, right? You guys are going to put it up there?
Bob is in charge of all of that.
Bob's in charge. Okay, Bob.
Well, it will be up soon, for sure.
Okay, that's great, because we're all waiting for it. And again, it's another thing that the researchers loved about what you were able to tell them, because you were not just able to talk about it, you were able to actually paint it, draw it, show it to them as a visual. So they got the details of everything that way as well.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And then in 1967, I had the adult experience of the UFO beings coming into my home and everything. So that was, I was going through a tough time anyway, because my husband had an accident and he was in the hospital really in bad shape. And I have 7 children, so it was kind of tough on me. And so my mom and dad came and stayed with me while my husband Jim was in the hospital. And it was at that time that all of a sudden, it was in the evening, the kids were watching television, and all the lights in the house went out. And evidently my father rushed past me, because we saw this reddish-orange light flashing in the pantry window, and it was coming throughout the whole kitchen and even into the living room where we were. And he must have rushed past me and went over in the pantry area where I could not see him, because we had a half wall there. And so anyways, I told the children to be quiet. It must be a fire or something. And I went out into the kitchen, and when I did, all of a sudden, in comes 5 beings, strange-looking beings, right through the door. They did not open it. They came right through the door and stood there. And they spoke with me, but it was in my mind, and I couldn't really grasp exactly what they were trying to tell me. I thought they wanted some food, and so I went to the refrigerator and I got some meat and a frying pan, and I started to fry it on the stove. And when it did, I was fine.
Betty, you're the ultimate hostess. The aliens walk into your house and you start preparing dinner for them.
Right. Well, I thought when they first came in, they're so strange, and I heard the scripture in my mind, entertain the stranger, for it may be angels unaware. And so who am I to say what angels look like, even though they didn't have wings like I had pictured what angels look like? But anyway, I started to cook that meat on the stove, and smoke rose up. I guess I was cooking it too fast, being nervous. And as that happened, they jumped back as if startled. And then they said in my mind, no, not that kind of food. They wanted knowledge tried by fire. And the only thing I could think of is, well, the Bible's been around a long time, and Becky's Bible was sitting on the end table in the living room. And so we went into the living room, and I was shocked to see my mother and all the children sitting on the couch there, and they were like in a state of suspended animation. And that really frightened me at that time. I thought, are they all right? Is my family okay? And at that time, they knew that I was fearful of it, and they took Becky out for a brief period of time. So she stood up and saw what was going on briefly, and then I picked up the Bible, passed it to the leader, and when I did it, I could see he had 3 fingers when he reached out for the book. And as he put the book in his hand, he waved his other hand over it, and there were 3 other books that appeared with the Bible, and he passed it to the 3 beings that were standing beside him. And little did I know, there was 5 beings that entered, but evidently one went directly over to where my father was in the pantry area. And he also told what he saw. But at first I had a hard time asking him, Daddy, do you remember what happened, or do you remember what you saw? And he says, yes, but I don't want to say anything. I'm afraid of my Social Security. I might lose it,
Oh.
And, yeah, and because they were, living on that, and it was kind of hard for them. And so he finally told exactly what he thought they were Halloween kids in Halloween freak costumes coming in toward the porch door.
Oh, so that's what he thought that was. Okay.
Yeah.
That was his explanation.
Yeah. And so when they came in and we were in the living room there, they passed me the leader, who said his name was Krasgar, passed me a thin blue book that I could hold on to for 10 days. He said I would have it for 10 days, but what happened was Becky had a dream 3 or 4 days after all this had happened, and she came to me and she says, Mama, I had an awful dream, a scary dream. She says, I saw these people or beings or whatever they were in the house, and I said, I wasn't supposed to show her, but I took her into my bedroom, and I had put that thin blue book up in the closet on the top shelf, and I took it out because I didn't want her to be afraid of what she had seen. And she put her hand on it, and her hand sparkled. And when you opened, the first 3 pages were like bright light on the pages, and then the rest had different designs and writings and so forth. But I told her, Becky, don't tell anybody, honey. Don't let anybody know about this because, Jesus is with us. Don't worry. It has to be of God, And so anyway, after that, she felt better, and I felt better that she was going to be all right. But at the time we were in the living room, after I put the thin blue book down on the end table, I was taken out of the living room, out of the kitchen, out through the door, right in back of the being without even opening it, out through the porch and up the hill a little ways, and we stood there, and the leader lifted his hand, and it made the bottom of the craft sort of transparent, and I could see the workings of the craft underneath it. It looked like big, huge crystal cut like balls on the very bottom with these prongs that were holding it that went up higher, and there was like another light on the top, and there was 2 amateurs that came out with a crystal-like wheel around that, and then there was like a tubing or something around the outer edge of the inside, but on the outer edge of this area that those wheels moved around. It was very unusual, very strange. And then from there, he moved his hand down and the craft turned back to the metallic material that it was made of, and we got inside the craft. I followed him. I automatically floated up into the craft, and then I was brought in, and certain things were shown to me and done to me.
And were you afraid at that point when you went into the craft with them? Did you try to run away and say, let me go, or did you just feel like this is okay, I'm going to go with them?
Well, because I'm so interested in details, being an artist, that it was amazing me, all the different things that was happening. I just was amazed by everything that was going on. So I felt as if I was going to be all right. The being kept on telling me I was okay. And they told me that they were watching out for mankind, and that they were keepers of nature and all natural form. So they evidently knew what I was made of, what the earth and everything around them was made of, so I didn't think that they would hurt me.
Oh, my goodness. That is quite an experience. Helene, are you taking this all in? This is amazing.
I'm in totally rapt attention, but I have a question for you, Betty.
Yes.
Did you ever find out why they were watching you? Did this come in with your soul, or how did they connect to you to begin with? Do you know the answer to that?
Well, I have a question, Helene, because of the 7-year-old experience. When they said the wee little one is coming along fine, I sometimes question, what am I made of?
Well, you're in a human incarnation now, but the feeling I'm getting about it is that your soul was connected to them, that they just didn't point to a pin on a map and say, oh, Leominster, Massachusetts, let's see what 7-year-old girl we can find. Well, they already knew you from before, but I was wondering if they actually answered that question for you.
Well, I do believe that the real us, each person, the real person is their soul. That's who the real person is. The body is made up of flesh, and just like the Word of God says, about the form was made. God made the form, then he breathed the breath of life. That's the spirit going in, and man became a living soul. So it's a living thing of us, really, is our soul. And that's where we make decisions. That's where we think. That's where we, and we correspond with the spirit that is in our mind as well.
But it sounds like what Helene is saying is probably true, that you had a kinship with them. Possibly that you were born with, because you really weren't afraid of them. Well, I think that, yes, there must have been for them to, continue to come get me, even up to this day. So there must, but I did learn that I have something I have to do, because the experience of 1967, when I was brought before this bright light and everything, I was frightened at that time, very frightened. And a voice said to me, you have seen and you have heard, do you understand? And I didn't understand at that time. I didn't know. Everything was so unusual and strange, but yet evidently my soul knew, because I was still there. And I heard the voice say to me,
I have chosen you to show the world. Now, what that is I'm going to have to do, I don't know if it is because of the many experiences I've had with the UFOs and the beings, what it is, what I'm supposed to do. I had a strange dream that I think was something that I will be doing, giving some kind of directions. I don't know, because the strange prophetic dream I had was I was sitting by the water, and I looked down. It was beautiful, clear water, and there were fish in there. And I looked down. There were golden, silver, pink, and silver fish in the water. And I looked closer. There were no tails on these fish. And I looked down and I said, oh, dear God, there's no tails on these fish. All of a sudden, in my dream, a bucket appeared, and inside was water, and there were living tails in there, fish tails. I reached down in, and I put the tail into the water next to the fish. It swooped on the fish, and it swam away as if it was happy. And then I kept on doing that all night long, putting living tails on fish. I know it sounds ridiculous and
no, it doesn't.
Weird.
It just sounds like you had a very busy night.
It was. I feel it was a prophetic dream that God showed me. That's something I was going to have to do for Him, and it was. I guess tails on fish are directions, you know,
and spiritual directions. The fish.
And fish, of course, is a symbol for Christ or Christians.
Right.
And somehow, evidently, there's some kind of direction I'm going to give. I don't know what it is. It'll have to be from God anyways for it to be the right thing. And I woke up in the morning. I wasn't exhausted, but from the time I fell asleep, I had that dream until the morning when I woke up, I felt very calm, peaceful, and relaxed. So I knew it wouldn't be me that is going to have to do this. I may be used, but it wouldn't be my idea or what will be done.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see what that is going to be. My goodness, your life is so exciting. You have all these amazing experiences. You have a beautiful family also, part of the rest of the world here. But you know what I find so interesting, Betty? So many things about you and your experience, but it's like you're one of the very few people that I have met that has had an experience like this, and you've just taken it in as a part of your life. So you've actually integrated it very well, which is not easy to do. So no. I commend you. That's really tough to do, but you've taken it into your life. It's a part of your life, and you have accepted it. And I think you're a shining light to other people who have had abduction experiences, and they don't know what to do, and they may still be left with fear. I think you're a good example of how things can settle out and be fine.
And that may be what I was chosen to do because of all the experiences that I've had and am still having, is to show mankind, hey, you know, things happen. God loves you. You have a life. Try to do the best you can. You know, this is how I feel.
Well, it's beautiful. So we are going to take a very short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to you some more about this very unusual experience that you've had, that you've made normal in your life, and we're going to also want to talk to you, Bob, about what's been going on with this covert surveillance and lots of exciting things in another area. So everybody stay tuned, and if you have a question, please call in at 646-478-0828. Again, that's 646-478-0828. Everybody stay tuned. We will be right back.
you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the Source. With Cosmic Fusion, the Source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.KOSMICfusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Bonjour, this is Veronique Raskin, founder of the Organic Wine Company. As one of the pioneers of the organic wine movement, since 1980 I have brought you the very best and most authentic organic wines directly to your table. I work with small family estates who grow certified organic grapes and produce exceptional wines. You can purchase our wines individually from our website at theorganicwinecompany.com or join one of our wine clubs. Our organic wines are perfect for you and for your family as gifts for friends and relatives, and they are simply spectacular for the holidays. Visit us at theorganicwinecompany.com to enjoy the very best organic wines conveniently delivered to your door. I am Veronique Raskin, passionate about my mission. I offer to you vegan, organic, and biodynamic wines, wines made by people of the heart, wines with a heart. Au revoir. Call us at 1-888-ECO-WINE.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We are having a fascinating discussion this evening with Betty Andreasson Luca and Bob Luca from the Andreasson Affair. The book is coming out again, everybody. October 20th is the debut. You can order your copy now on Amazon.com. Also, be sure to visit AndreassonAffair.com, the website. You can also follow this on Facebook, and you can also follow Betty and Bob on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle, you guys?
What is the Twitter handle? Bob would know.
You know,
Bob, we're putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I don't know if I put one up yet, to be honest with you.
I think it's Abduction Betty. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Okay, so it's at Abduction Betty, or Abducted Betty, excuse me, Abducted Betty. So, yeah, be sure to, everybody, follow Betty and Bob there and go to their Facebook page so that you can keep up with everything. And please do the same with us, supernaturalgirls.com. Sign up for our newsletter and go to angelslighthouse.com also to follow Helene and all the wonderful things she's offering. So a lot of information, a lot of great gifts for our audience. So just make sure you're signed up everywhere so you can participate. So I'm sorry, go ahead. Who's talking? Go.
Well, I was taken aboard the craft, and I was taken up into another room and then brought back down, and I was taken into an area and told to change into a gown that they had there. And when they did that, they took me into another room, floated me into another room, and that's when they started to check me. And
so they did these not experiments, but they did, like, I guess, like an examination, and we don't want to give away everything. We want people to read the book and get all the details there. But they did that. They also gave you other information, and through the years, even more. So you've got this wealth of information, this incredible experience that you have now recalled through regressive hypnosis. Mm-hmm. And here's where I'm going to bring you in, Bob, because not only has your wife had all of these experiences, and you too, you've also had some, but now you're dealing with another element. Can you tell us about that element that came into your life, the surveillance?
Sure. As soon as the first book came out, a lot of people got really interested in this in strange ways. The first thing we began to notice was low flights of black unmarked helicopters over the house. Then our telephone had been tapped. We started to be followed by cars that on several occasions I was able to get behind, and I gave the license plate numbers to police officer Larry Fawcett, and they came back as unissued. So that is more than likely FBI, CIA, something like that. And for quite some time now, I've had a thing going with the Department of Defense because someone tried to hack my computer on more than one occasion, and the address it was hacked from, we'll be specific, was 7990 Science Applications Court in Vienna, Virginia, which is where a lot of the Department of Defense computers are housed. The two specific ones that tried to get in my computer were the Space and Naval Warfare Systems Department and the Department of the Army. I had sent letters to both Inspector Generals of the Army and Navy requesting, wanting to know why. And I have been put off and put off and put off. The Navy has never even acknowledged my letters, even though I had sent them certified mail. Most people would be surprised to find that the Navy is much more involved in the UFO phenomena than what they think. But at any rate, I have finally contacted our senator here, Mark Warner, about a little over a month ago, and he is going to try to get them to answer my Freedom of Information request. So that was one aspect. The other aspect, the IRS in the beginning, after the first year the book came out, were so kind to us. Every year they would bring us in and make sure we had our finances straight, so we didn't have to worry about it. They did it for us. I mean, that was just so nice of them. Then I had, after many of these low flights of helicopters over our house, I had contacted the FAA and sent them pictures. I contacted the General Aviation District Office in Massachusetts, which is the one that covered our area. And they said they would help. Well, when I sent them the pictures, they sent me back a letter and said, well, these helicopters don't have any numbers. We can't identify them. That's why I was writing them in the first place. And one fellow, a Mr. Sam Martino, from that office, on his own time, drove all the way down to Connecticut to our home on a Saturday, and we weren't there, unfortunately. Well, years later, when he was interviewed, he said he just had some vague memory of it, but what they didn't realize was the note he left on his door I kept. Also, the helicopters, I have many pictures. I sent pictures of some to Bell Helicopter in Texas, where they're manufactured. And I have a letter back from Bell Helicopter saying, yes, they make that model, which was the Huey UH-1H, but they stated it had been modified by the military in this case because they didn't send it out the way this particular one was. Then we had the people from the phone company. After purchasing an electronic tap detector, we determined that our phone was tapped. We tried it on at friends' houses. We tried it at my work, Betty's work, our home. The only place it indicated a tap was at our home and Betty's work. So I called the phone company, and I said, I'm sure my line is tapped. I want security to check my line. And they sent this fella down, and this was a joke. They sent this fella down. He comes in. He checks the mouthpiece on the phone. He says, this is real tight. He says, nobody's been in here. He says, we'll check the lines and let you know. So he's no sooner out the door, and I called Betty. I said, come here, look at this. And I unscrewed the mouthpiece that he couldn't get off, supposedly. And outside, I later noticed, I took pictures. There's a junction box on the telephone pole where the phone lines all come together and the wires go into.
Yeah,
and that box was left wide open, exposed to the weather, which it shouldn't be. So obviously, someone was in there. And Larry Fawcett, one day he and I were having a conversation, and I hung up. And he called me back about 3 minutes later. He says, Bob, you'll never believe this. He said, you hung up, and he says, I heard somebody on the line asking if they got us on tape.
Oh, my goodness.
Then, when Betty and I...
Just so everybody knows, Larry Fawcett was a Coventry police officer.
Right.
And he wrote a book called Clear Intent, which was also about the government covering up the UFO phenomenon. So that's amazing that Larry actually heard them say that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he called me right back. On another occasion, Betty and I aren't really fond of cold weather. So it was winter. It was about 2:30 in the morning. We went over to a friend's house who was kind enough to let us park our camp trailer there. About 3 o'clock in the morning, I hooked up the trailer, and off we went to Florida. Well, that was on a Saturday evening. And the following Wednesday, 2 FBI agents with photo ID showed up at my job, and they wanted to know where we were. Obviously, the guys I work with nobody knew where I went. They knew it was probably Florida, but they didn't know where. So when we got back, they told us, Betty and I went to the Federal Building in New Haven, to the FBI office. Now, we never said that we were involved with the UFO phenomena. An agent came out to speak with us, and I said, that someone had said that 2 FBI agents were at my work, and they gave me the story. We can neither confirm nor deny, how that goes. But while we were there, I asked them, why are you guys tapping our telephone? And the agent said to us right out, he says, it's not us. He says, in your case, it's Air Force intelligence. And that's what he told us right out.
He admitted that? Oh, my goodness.
When I talked to someone that was in Air Force intelligence, I was told, no, it wasn't us. It was probably the FBI. So goes the endless circle as far as trying to get answers out of the government.
Well, and what a lot of people need to understand here, and this was pointed out to me by a security expert, there is nothing in the law that allows the government to do this type of covert surveillance on UFO abductees. I mean, there's nothing that says you are allowed to tap the phones of UFO abductees.
Well, that's true, but what they do is as soon as they say that it concerns national security, they can do anything they want. They can string you up by the thumbs and beat you and ask you questions, you know?
Oh, don't give them any ideas, Bob.
That's for sure.
Maybe I should keep my mouth shut.
Well, I'll tell you, we went to a meeting at MIT, and Dr. Hynek did come over to me, and he says, Betty, stick to philosophy and leave the military out of it. And I think that was for Bob's benefit.
Well, you know, it's very, very difficult when you're feeling so invaded, I would imagine, by some type of covert operation, no matter where it's coming from.
Let's talk about the worst thing that they did to us, okay? Because I want answers to this stuff, and I don't care where I have to go or how far to get them. But sooner or later, I want to know. When we lived in Cheshire, Connecticut, they broke into our house late at night. We had about 100-pound German Shepherd dog. And after Betty and I had gone to bed, I heard two men talking in our kitchen, which was off of the bedroom. So I looked at the dog. The dog got up, and his front legs just went out from under him, and he fell flat on his face on the floor. When that happened, I realized something is really wrong here, so I reached in my nightstand for where I kept a .38 pistol, and I was going to confront whoever was in the kitchen. Well, the next thing I knew, it was morning. I woke up with a terrible headache, worse than a hangover even. Betty woke up. She had a terrible headache. We went to work. She said all day long her left arm had been paining her when she got home that night. Now, she's right-handed. All day long, my right arm was really, really hurting me. Now, I'm left-handed. So we took off our shirts. On her left arm, she had about 1.5 inch diameter dark spot with a puncture mark right in the middle. I had an identical mark on my right arm. And there was evidence that the front door lock had been tampered with because I had just painted all the trim in the house within a week. And you could see where we did not have a bolt lock at that time, and somebody slipped something in and apparently opened the lock, which is easy to do. I've done it myself in the past. So I think what happened is they probably put some kind of gas or sleep agent in through the bedroom windows to get us out. Then once they got in the house, they probably gave us a shot to keep us out so they could look for what they were looking for. And here's where the connection between the UFO phenomena and the government gets interesting. I don't think the government really cares if you know there's aliens. But what they are deathly afraid of is the technology. Because if the technology becomes available, so we don't need to buy oil, so we don't need to have electric lines hook up to our house, there is trillions and trillions of dollars that the elite will not have anymore, and they will not be in power any longer. I think this is the real reason. Money and power is what it's all about with the government and the technology that the aliens possess. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain.
Well, no, I think your point is very well taken. And again, I'm going back to everything you've just shared with us, with our audience. I mean, I want everybody to think about that, how they would feel if this happened to them, if people broke into their house, gassed them, and gave them some type of unknown medication to keep them asleep. I mean, how would you all feel about that? That is just a terrible invasion of more than just your privacy. I mean, that's your physical space, it's your physical body that they came in and adjusted so they could look around. It's so wrong.
Well, I can give you an example much more down to earth and today. I worked on hydrogen fuel cells when we were in Florida, and they had developed, this company that I worked for, developed an object that was the size of a refrigerator, and you put it in your house. It made electricity, heat, and hot water. It had no moving parts. It did not need oil. It had been thoroughly tested and was ready to go into production. 2 oil companies came in, bought up this company, and I have not seen those since. Now, I know they worked. I worked on them. I actually took part in building the fuel cells, in testing the fuel cells, and this thing was ready to go in production. But again, you could heat your house with it. You could disconnect from the power lines from the electric company, and you would have hot water as well. And the thing got squashed, just like what happened to Nikola Tesla and others that have tried to provide cheap or inexpensive energy. And that's firsthand experience.
Wow. And when was this that you worked on those, Bob?
It was around 2001 to 2003, if I remember correctly.
Gosh, just think what the world would look like today if we all had access to something like that.
Well, I believe the technology exists, but like I say, if the government does not want that in the hands of everyday people, there's just no way.
Right.
And, you know, Bob and I were willing to talk with the agencies to let them know exactly what we saw, what the machines were like. You know, we weren't trying to hold anything back. That's why it kind of hurt us a little to know that they would do these other things, you know, and make us feel like we were, there was really something wrong with us for
like you were criminals and they had to keep an eye on you.
Yeah, that kind of hurts.
You know, there's a couple of things that were funny. I see humor in most everything. Betty's much more serious than I am. But when I was taking flying lessons, I was up with my instructor, and he gave me a course to follow. And off to my right-hand side, I saw this unmarked helicopter. So I just upped the throttle a little bit in the plane, banked to the right, and took off after it. And Dave, my instructor, said, hey, what are you doing? Well, he didn't know anything about our UFO experiences or the problems we were having. So I just had to say, my bad, got back on course. Another occasion, I had flown on a cross-country flight, and I was coming back. I was in Massachusetts or Connecticut near the border, and these 4 black Hueys are coming on an intersecting path with me.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm thinking, they were probably about 500 feet above me. I was about 3,000 feet. They were probably about 2,500 feet. And they're coming directly toward me. So we're going to cross paths, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, is this it? Am I going to have a student pilot accident? Do they know it's me in the airplane? And then I thought, I'm getting pretty paranoid. And I got to knock this off. But then the more I thought about it, by that time, I think I had a right to be a little paranoid.
Yeah, I think so. You really did. You really did. And I know there's so many other things. Tell the audience, if you would, about the time that you guys were in your car and you encountered the men in black.
Oh, God, that was, I thought it was funny, but anyway, we were going to visit Betty's sister in Florida, and we were living in Connecticut. Now, usually I made that drive in one day. However, this time we hit construction, we hit traffic, and there was tie-up after tie-up. So by the time we got as far as Lake Worth, I was just exhausted. And I had been to Lake Worth before and camped at a campground that was right on Lake Worth Road. So I told Betty, I said, well, we can go in there, sleep for the night. It's a safe place. Get up in the morning, take a shower, have breakfast, it'll be comfortable. So we pull in for the campground, and I go in to purchase a lot or to pay for a lot, and they are talking about a UFO sighting that happened there the very night before.
Mm.
Well, I was tired, and I said, I'm not going to get involved in this. I just wanted to get our lot and go to sleep. I got the lot, park the car, and the way the lots are laid out down there, they're facing directly north and south, and the roads go east and west. It's kind of like a grid. So we got settled in. Betty and I are in the car, and we put down the seats, and we had a hatchback, so the back went down, and you could make a reasonably comfortable bed there. Suddenly, a ball, a multicolored ball the size of a grapefruit, looked like a disco ball, came right through the rear part of the front door. And we just sat there in awe. This thing was like sparkling, all different colors of the rainbow, and it went from one end of the car to the other. Mm-hmm. So we thought, well, that was interesting, just another one of those things, you know. And finally we settled down and go to sleep, and later on I hear a car come up and park behind us. And I look out, and it's a darker black Cadillac. Well, I didn't think too much of it. I thought, well, these guys are probably trying to beat the campground out of their fee or whatever. They'll probably be up early and gone. Later on that night, I needed to use the restrooms, which were probably about 25, 30 yards from where the car was. I get out quietly. I close the door. I lock it. I go to use the restroom. I come back, and I'm approaching the left rear of this Cadillac, and all four doors open exactly at the same moment, just like one door. Mm-hmm. And these creepy-looking guys get out. They were real lean. They looked Asian. Each one of them had on a black suit, a white shirt, a black tie, and a narrow-rimmed hat.
Very thin.
And as I'm walking around the car, it's like they're playing musical chairs. They walk directly around the car, so that they're lined up, each pair is lined up now on the opposite side of the car from where they started out.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me. And I'm looking at them, and I didn't feel any fear or anything. These guys were so skinny, it looked like a gust of wind probably would have knocked them over.
Right.
That's what But then they get back in the car, and they close the four doors exactly at the same time. It was like the noise was like only one door closed. Mm-hmm. And they get back in the car. Next day, Betty and I get up. Now remember, I said all the lots go north and south. I look at the compass on the car. It was pointing almost due magnetic north the night before. Now it's pointing almost due east. When I turn the radio on, the digital clock is now 20 minutes fast. Now, I talked to electrical engineers, I talked to some physicists. Nobody could explain what could cause that other than possibly a large electromagnetic pulse. And I have a feeling, I'm not sure, I don't know what happened as I was walking by that car. I hope sometime in the near future to get hypnotized and examine that area a little closer, because something had to happen to do that to the car. I also took photographs. I walked around the car, and when I got to the spot where the multicolored ball passed through the car door, mm-hmm. the compass would swing wildly away from the car as much as 4 or 5 feet away. And the closer I was to the car, the quicker the compass would spin.
Oh, my goodness.
So something went on, but I never really looked into it that much. I just thought these are weird guys, and they got a problem.
And he never thought that I was left alone there while he went to the bathroom.
Yeah. Wow, see, look at that. There's so much to consider here.
They said
I don't know, Helene, what do you pick up on these four guys? This is a very strange experience.
I'm almost getting them as energetic rather than physical.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Remember John Keel, the author? He did The Mothman in Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He had very similar experiences with the same guys and with the older model Cadillac,
right,
and the New York license plates. Because the license plates were very familiar to me because living in Connecticut, we saw New York plates all the time.
Right.
And if I was only more aware at the time to take down the license plate or to ask the guys, and it was almost like I was numb because normally, I would have said hi or hey, what are you doing or something. I didn't say a word. I just looked at them thinking, what's wrong with these guys?
I don't know how you went back to sleep knowing
they might
were
have been
there.
looking at me thinking, what's wrong with this guy?
Really, because they sound, like you said, they were creepy looking, and the way everything happened so synchronistically, it was like the doors closing, and all at once. You said it sounded like one door. I mean, that's just very, very spooky.
Yeah, but
yet you went right back to sleep, Bob.
A lot of people look at this stuff as scary. What I look at, hey, if it is, then it is. So you might just as well accept it and deal with it.
Well, you know what, I think you're right when you talk. This is why I bring it up, because you said you felt like maybe you were numb, and I'm pointing that out again, saying I think you were, because you were able to identify the fact that these guys were creepy, but yet you were able to go back to sleep, which isn't like you. So
that's true.
I think you're right that there was some kind of a stupefaction spell going on. It just wasn't allowing you to be your normal self.
Did you just say that I was dumber than usual at that point?
I was
You'll never tell,
that's
right,
not
Patricia?
what I meant. No. I meant I was taking a term out of the Harry Potter film, calling for the stupefaction spell. But it does seem like that, that because I know you.
Yes, it does, Patricia.
You would have questioned them. You would have taken down the license plate. That's you. You would have done all those things.
Yes.
It just sounds like they did something to make sure that wasn't going to happen, so you weren't acting like your normal self. And I know that you wouldn't have gone right back to sleep, after having encountered something like this. So, again, I agree with you. I think the numbness you describe is the tip of the iceberg here.
That's why I want to get some hypnosis on that particular point and see if anything unusual happened that can be recalled.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. You can put that in your next book.
Well, we've got quite a bit in the next book. I had another experience, and we're getting close to the time when it will be finished. So I have a few drawings I want to do for it and everything. But unusual things happened during that time also, and it's showing that future things are going to be happening as well.
Oh, exciting. Well, we all want to read your next book, too. That is for sure. My goodness. And we have a question here from the chat room.
Okay.
The question is, does Betty think the ETs will ever let us all know they are here, since the government won't?
Yes, I really believe that they will.
Oh, that's good news. Wouldn't that be nice to have all of this out in the open?
Yes, it needs to be. And it needs to be because our world is going in a crazy order. I mean, it's everything is like upside down and turned around, and it's hard times for people. People got to go back to their family and stick with their family and do what is right, But the thing is that there is so much cost to everything nowadays because of taxes and everything. Things have got to be straightened out so that the American people can return back to the joy and happiness we have with our country or have had in our country.
I'm all for it. And I do agree with you. I think that the extraterrestrials, if they would come and be with all of us, it would definitely turn things in a different direction. Because right now there's a kind of a feeling that we're all slaves to something, and it's not a good feeling.
Yes.
You can say the word government. You don't have to say slaves to something.
Slaves to the government. Slaves to, yes, many things like the government. Well, but you did mention in the past, Bob, the shadow government. And if you could take a few minutes and talk to our audience about that, because you brought up some very valid points about, is it really the government that's doing this, or is it the shadow government?
Sure. We have a shadow government with its own military, its own air force. It's by and for the elite. And it's not just me saying that. Bill Clinton has mentioned that publicly when he was president. He said straight out, there is a shadow government, and I don't control that. And I believe that it is the shadow government which controls most of the advanced technology that we have, and that is keeping it from the people. Just like they buried Nikola Tesla when he wanted to give people free electricity, and like I mentioned to you about the hydrogen units for your home, this would cost them dearly. It would cost them trillions of dollars, and that's why they are not about to let this happen, as long as they can physically prevent it. But the time is coming when they will no longer be able to do that, because as Betty believes, the ETs are going to show themselves worldwide, and I have the feeling it's going to be exactly that, and when they do come, we are going to benefit from the technology that they have, physical technology, medical technology, and there are things. Everybody talks about Area 51 developing airplanes, and yeah, they do that. And President Clinton last week on TV said, "I can assure you there are no aliens at Area 51." And some people think he's lying. Well, he's not. The alien technology is being back-engineered to S4, which is actually not Area 51. It is another compartment of. So he didn't lie to the public, but they are there. And there's a number of former employees now that have come forth and said what they could, about it. There's also the underground bases that the government has throughout the country, the tunnels connecting some of these bases and so forth, which most people are just totally unaware of. But you can go look at the patent office. There's a patent machine running back to the mid-70s or early 80s that's nuclear-powered, that bores and makes tunnels through solid granite and glass coats them as a result of the process they use. So, there's no big deal that they've done this. They've been doing it for years, and mostly to protect the elite and the government from whatever might happen, nuclear war, alien invasion, whatever. But they are there, and if anybody thinks that they're not, they need to do a little research.
Yeah, like you said, there even past presidents have come out and talked about certain things in a way that you can learn what is really going on to some degree. But you also brought up an excellent point a while back when we were discussing this, and you said that with the shadow government funded by the corporations or whomever, the great wealthy whomever they are, that once it's in the private sector, there's no way that we can do freedom of information requests and get any information out of them anymore, because we're now dealing with another breed of cat. This is no longer the government that has to be transparent, supposedly, and give us information. This is the private sector. They don't have to tell us a thing.
Well, the government is in bed with the private sector because it's for their benefit, especially financially, and by handing over this stuff to the private sector, like you said, you can't file a freedom of information on GE. They'll just laugh at you.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all sewed up.
Although government hasn't answered mine, and it's been months, so.
Yeah. They're so busy. They're just so busy, Bob. And for people who want to see these documents, you have these documents published on your Facebook page, correct?
Yes, they are. And there will be more coming shortly if I get some more information from Senator Warner. When it comes in, I will post them immediately.
Yeah, so anybody who would like to review the documents and check this out in black and white for yourselves, you can go to Andreasson Affair on Facebook. And the documents are all posted there, along with the times and the dates that you were hacked. And the letter that says, yes, we did hack you.
Oh, yeah. I think they didn't count on the software I had at the time, because I had worked as a computer technician before we moved to Florida, and I learned a lot from the guys I worked with, and so I had some very good security software at the time. Like I say, when they tried to hack me, I got everything, even the phone number of the place, the street address, the operator of the computer, so it's going to be pretty hard for them to say they didn't do it.
Yeah, and in the letter they said they did, didn't they?
Exactly.
They came right out and said, yeah, it was us, it was this group. And that's why I was laughing, although it's really not funny. It's not ha-ha funny. It's ironic in that they came right out and admitted it.
Well, I think that's why it's taking so long for them to do something. I don't think they know what to do, because they've already admitted it was them. But why would something like the Navy Space Weapons Systems Division be interested in my computer?
Yeah.
Probably because Betty had seen things that she drew regarding propulsion, regarding energy and all, and I don't keep that stuff on my computer, so they're wasting their time. Shut my mouth. They'll be coming to the house again.
I know.
We did have a break-in where there were some papers that I had done through the being. In Higganum, yeah. They broke into our fifth-wheel trailer when we were going to California for a lecture, and we had to turn back. But the only thing that was missing were some of the papers that I received. I drew of what their information was all about, and it dealt with craft.
And that was interesting too, Patricia, because where we lived, it was in a rural area, so I had to call the local state trooper to come up and fill out the paperwork and all, so I could collect for the insurance for the damage that was done. And he was a young fella, and we told him about our involvement with the UFO phenomena. We told him what we suspected. And he was pretty straight. He says, look, if I find out what's going on or who's involved, he says, I will tell you. Within a week, he was transferred out of the area.
Oh, my goodness.
And also that San Martino from the FAA that left a note on our door on a Saturday.
Yes.
The following Wednesday, when I called the FAA general office in Boston, he had been moved also, and I couldn't contact him.
So, yes, it moved these people around, so you lose your connection. Oh, my goodness. Well, again, you guys are terrific because you have a wonderful trust in what's happening, and also a wonderful way about you that there's a lightness about this that you bring to the subject, despite all of these other dire things that have happened, including the break-ins in your house. So your upbeat nature and your sense of humor, I'm sure that's all helped to get you through. And
sure
it keeps life interesting, that's for sure.
What an adventure. I mean, my goodness, what an adventure your lives are. It's amazing. And it's great to hear from both of you because you each have so much to offer to the audience and the world about your experiences with all of these different elements and all of these different beings. Oh, my goodness.
Right. Well, it didn't stop at just the Andreasson affair. There were 5 books, actually, that were printed about other experiences we both have had. So there's a lot of information out there for people to look into and not be so afraid of the phenomena.
Well, that's great advice, and all of the books are listed on your website, Andreassonaffairs.com. So for anybody who wants to take a look at those, there's The Watchers, Andreasson Affair Phase 2. There's many books that have been written, and, of course, the classic that is available now for pre-order, The Andreasson Affair, and that will be formally available on October 20th of this year. Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you so much. A lot has to do with you, Patricia. You are such a sweetheart.
Well,
God
thank
bless
you. Well, I'm excited, and Steven Spielberg, I hope he's listening because this is a story he should not miss. I mean, this is a grand opportunity for him to continue on with his fabulous filmmaking career with another great story about UFOs, abductions, ETs. Mostly about you guys. So
well, if he looks into it all, he will have plenty of information to grasp and use. That's for sure.
Oh, well, we want to see this happen, don't we, Helene? This is going to be great.
It's just such an in-depth and really exciting story. And, there's a lot of UFO fakery out there.
Yeah.
So when you come across a story like yours, Betty and Bob, I mean, it's just so fascinating with all the documentation and all the investigation and everything that's been done. It's just incredible. Everybody should buy the book.
Well, absolutely.
All we can do is tell what happened, and if it helps someone, that's praise God for that, because we all need that light. You know, we all need to understand. We all need to feel safe and know that we're watched over.
Well, everybody's writing in from the chat room saying that they love you.
Oh, thank you, and everyone, God bless you. You know, people are so wonderful, really and truly. Their souls are right out there. They're wanting to know the truth, and as the word says, the truth shall set you free.
We want to be free, that is for sure. And thank you so much, Betty and Bob, for coming on the show. It's always such a pleasure to have you here and to speak with you about your experiences. Just delightful.
Yes, it is. God bless you all.
Well, thank you. We're going to have to do this again because we know you have another book that's going to be coming out. But for now, again, many thanks, many blessings to you both. Thank you to everyone in our audience for listening tonight. Such a great show. Be sure to buy the book, The Andreasson Affair. So thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Be sure to join us next week. We'll have another great show all ready to go for you. So make sure you sign up on supernaturalgirls.com for our newsletter and go to Angels Lighthouse and do the same. And make sure that you also take a visit to Andreassonaffair.com and make sure that you are following them on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere, so that you don't miss out on all the excitement to come when this book comes out on October 20th. So good night, everybody.
Good night, Patricia and Helene.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural.